Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk about Preacher Episode 3 of Season 1. First thing I want to get out of the way here, everyone asking me to read the comics and do videos on the comics. I've said it before, I'm going to read the comics after this first season airs. I want to go into this with some mystery. And I've seen a couple people, I had a couple conversations actually, between the difference between reading the Walking Dead comic and knowing what's going to happen, as far as the comic goes, and then watching the show. And then, with Preacher, me not wanting to read the comic. It's a little bit different. It's kind of a different genre. It's a different genre. It's a different style of story where you have more mystery. And I'm not talking about not knowing. There's a difference between not knowing what's going to happen in The Walking Dead and mystery of Preacher. Preacher has these supernatural elements. There's vampires. There's these two beings that are like angels or something. There's the Word of God. There's a level of mystery there. It's supernatural, and there's some elements that I would rather just be revealed to me in the show. You know what I mean? And that's different from The Walking Dead because other than the zombies, everything else is grounded in reality. There's no aliens, there's no supernatural shit, people don't have powers. You know what I mean? It's just zombies. Zombies are the only thing that are not real that's in that show. So it's a difference between not knowing where the story's going to go and the mystery, and that is why I'm not reading the comic yet until I watch the show fully. Now, with that said, I will be reading the first book after the first season airs, and we'll do a review on it. Now, again, with the mystery, we have this cowboy guy. I know nothing about it, and I love it, and I can't wait for them to reveal it in the show. Also, we have the tree. I believe the tree that the people were hanging from in like episode 2, also with the cowboy guy. I believe that's the same tree we saw by the church. That could be totally wrong, but it looks like the same tree. We also have that production plant. We have that boss who seems like a complete weirdo. I think he was listening to cows get slaughtered in a slaughterhouse. I mean, that reminded me of the alarm clocks where you have the ocean or waves, kind of soothing sounds to fall asleep to. He was just relaxing in his chair listening to slaughterhouse sounds. I mean, I thought that's what it was, but it was a little odd for me, so maybe I just missed something. Maybe he was watching something. I don't know. But anyway, so there's these mysterious elements that I'm looking forward to, and I have no idea what the cowboy means. I heard he is an important character coming up. I'm excited for that, so don't expect me to give you any answers. I just do not know. The intro to this was pretty cool. I'm liking these intros. I really like how we flash back in time to what these characters were doing previously, and it's revealed to us that Jesse and Tulip were actually betrayed. Now, when they were setting that up, I was thinking that Jesse was the one in the car and peeled out, and then later we get the full image where Carlos is a guy that they were working with, and it seems like he might have robbed them, took money from them, but also betrayed them and left them in a position where they could potentially get caught by the authorities. So this Carlos character seems like a really backstabbing son of a bitch. So the Preacher and Tulip are going to go get revenge on this Carlos guy. Now that is the theme of the story, or the underlining theme, because one of the bigger themes we're getting in the first episode, we get the introduction of the Word of God, that being that went into the Preacher. In the second episode, we're getting him becoming aware of the abilities, or using them, having them. In the third episode, this episode, we're seeing him being able to use them, kind of control them. He practices it with Cassidy, and then later in the bathroom with Donnie, that opens his eyes to doing some good. At least that's what I felt like. And he can't have this ability now and do good, at the same time go and kill someone who betrayed him. You get what I'm saying? That's what I got out of it. Again, he could be doing something totally different or be thinking something different and going in a different direction. Now that leads us with the twins. They're not really twins, but they look similar. And Cassidy. Cassidy this whole time thinks they're coming to kill him. What I find interesting is this does something with the story. Now, the twins are going after the Preacher. I mean, the first time they go after him with a chainsaw in the can. The second time they get loaded up with guns and grenades and the whole works. Now, this does something in the story where Cassidy finally gets told that they're not there for him, Cassidy's like, okay, I'll be the middleman. So this essentially stops them from attacking the preacher, allowing the story to leave these guys off a little bit, back them off, and the preacher can continue his story with Cassidy being the middleman, where he can negotiate what's going to happen. Now, I'm not sure where Cassidy fits yet. He seemed like he honestly believed the guys. You know, it was a little different and weird, but he's a vampire, so he's listening to what they got to say. And they did show up again, which kind of bothered me, because the first time they had that bloody fight in the church, and that was the end of it. The Cassidy went out and buried them and shit, didn't he? Or he put them in the incinerator. Now this time they show up almost immediately. So the first time they get killed, and the sun even comes up. I think he chops them up with the chainsaw, right? He has all that time, chops them up, puts them in the bin. Now I remember. By that time, the sun came up. So why didn't they regenerate or whatever it is? Because we don't see that. But now, as soon as he runs them over, he goes in the church to get a shovel or something to bury them. And then all of a sudden, they're there again. And the bodies stayed there. The dead bodies of the twins stayed there. So it's not like they heal themselves like Cassidy does, where he drinks, blood and heals himself. In the second episode, when Cassidy killed those guys, next thing you know, we see them reappeared talking to the sheriff. So, I just don't know why they didn't reappear and talk to Cassidy the first time they killed him. So that was a little bit odd to me, a little bit too convenient that they could reappear this second time and just go have a conversation with Cassidy. But that leaves me wondering, do you guys think Cassidy is just trying to bide his time, or do you think he honestly believes them and he truly wants to help them and be a middleman and lock this down? We've seen he was excited before about the possibilities of this power that the preacher has, so it leaves it up in the air to see what Cassidy's next move is. I feel like he's kind of letting it play out to see what is the best decision. I know at this time I don't think he is 100% sure or confident about what to do next. So he wants to kind of feel the situation out. That's what I got out of it. But again, I thought this was a good episode. It did slow down a bit. I was a little bit less interested than the second episode. The second episode was a complete win in my book. This episode kind of tamed it back a little bit, showed us a little more of the backstory and what's going on, but I'm really excited for what's coming up with the fourth episode of Preacher. Thoughts and opinions, what did you think about this episode? Put those down in the comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.
Subscribe now.